Welcome to the Exam Room Podcast, brought to you by the Physicians Committee. Hello, I'm the weight loss champion, Chuck Carroll. Thanks so very much for watching and downloading in more than 150 countries around the world and making the Exam Room one of the most consumed nutrition podcasts anywhere on the planet today. You know, we have done somewhere in the ballpark of 550 episodes so far, and one of the questions that we get asked most here on the show is, well, what do I tell my significant other in terms of going vegan? How can we get healthy together? How can I inspire the love of my life to get their health on track with me? And today, we are going to hear from such an amazing power vegan couple. I will say that they are North America's #1 vegan couple. From Fit Vegan Coaching, we have Maxime Sigouin and his new bride, Teves Sigouine. Thank you so very much for being here, guys.
Thank you for having us. So excited.
Married for what? We're in, as we tape this, June, so 6 months?
Yeah.
Long time.
How's it going?
It's great.
It's going great. Yeah, it's the same as before. So.
Yeah, you know what though? Like we wake up and there's still that moment that you go, oh my God, you're my husband now. So weird.
Happens multiple times a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit, we're married.
Yeah, tell me, dude, I've been married, it'll be 9 years in October, and it's still kind of the same deal, like, I'm married, right? It's like, oh, okay, you know? And it's cool, because like, yeah, I promise we'll get into the vegan stuff in just a second, but we'll talk love first. But like, Julie was somebody that, like, before I lost all the weight, I had a serious crush on. And because we were both running in media circles, we had all of these mutual friends, but I never had the nerve to even talk to her. What would she want to do with a guy like me? And you get a little bit of confidence, and look what happens. You get stuck together, right? Careful what you wish for. But yeah, how did you guys meet?
Honestly, Instagram. I was kind of
how 2020s of you.
Yeah, but it was more from like a business standpoint and a community building standpoint than like wanting to date. Yeah. So I don't know how far back you want me to kind of go into the story, but you know, I shared in the previous episode we did together, like I lost my late partner several years ago. So I moved to Mexico, sold everything I own, went to LA to hang out with Nimai for his girlfriend's birthday, Bianca. And I was like, well, Lee's great, I'll just stick around a little bit. And so one thing I do on my Instagram is I send messages to new followers on my page, or people that kind of interact with my page to connect with them. And so I just kind of saw a name, I clicked on it, I sent a message like, hey Ivy, you know, thanks for joining my community, blah, blah, blah. And then she replied back and she was like, oh, I don't think I liked any of your photos. I was like, well, I got the name from somewhere, you know? And we eventually figured out that it was from Robert Cheek. We had a common friend together.
Robert Cheek.
But then I ended up going on her profile. I was like, oh, she's beautiful. Let me just steer the conversation in a different way.
Correction.
Oh yeah, all right, let's get her side of the story here.
There's always two sides. I was not following him.
Yeah.
It was super random messages, and I have tons of followers, right? And like messages super random. But that day, I actually, like, for some reason, I went through, like, you know, your kind of like junk mail for DMs.
Like the third inbox.
Yeah, there's like general, primary, and then like everything else.
Yeah, because since I don't follow him, I see this message. I mean, he stood out. He was like half, like, shirtless or something, half naked.
I'm a Mexico six-pack photo.
Yeah, so I was like, who's this guy? Interesting. But
see, and women do it too. It's not just us guys. Yeah. Okay.
It works.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. I was like, whatever. I was like, I do not know you. I do not follow you, or I don't even like any of your posts. But it was a good trick because I actually went on his profile, started looking and searching which one I accidentally like, quote unquote. So nothing.
Right.
So that's how I got started.
And then what happened when you started watching my content?
Yeah. So coming from, you know, dating in LA, a lot of women can relate to this. Not talking crap about people, but for the most part, it's just like serial dating from, you know, like Peter Pan mentality. Nobody really wants to get married there unless you're from like somewhere else, like Canada or some out of the country.
You see that?
Yeah.
So I was really tired of the dating game, and I have given up on guys at that point. So, but when he started speaking, because he had like his reels and, podcast preview and trailer and whatnot. I was like, this guy had something else in him. It was different. It was genuine. The way he spoke, just like, it just relates to you. He's like speaking to you. It's not a facade. It's not like most of the guys I see half naked promoting their fitness programs or whatever it is. So I was like, okay, I was like, something different about this guy. His eyes speaks like really genuine and just like pure honesty. And I was like, it's something about him. I was like, he asked me to meet up.
Yeah, I think we're gonna go for coffee. So at that point, I was obviously not ready to meet anyone, but I was like new to LA, and I was like, I'll just kind of meet new people. Right. That's what I used to do back in. I used to hitchhike and just connect with new people, and it was fun. And so I was like, I'll just meet someone new. And it went from coffee, and then I think you were shopping with your friend.
I was 3 hours late.
Yeah.
You were 3 hours late to the coffee date?
Yeah, so we just like delayed it to dinner, and I was hanging out in Santa Monica. I mean, I was having a great day. It was my first end of year in business, and I had, you know how it is, you put money aside for your taxes, and my accountant was like, this is how much you owe, and I was like, there's all of this left, what do I do with it? And he's like, it's yours. I was like, what's mine? So I went shopping. I bought a new Mac. So I went shopping while she was like, I bought a new MacBook Pro. I was like, yeah, I'm fine, I'm chilling, I'm gonna take my time. And then we get to dinner, and you were late to dinner too.
I was late.
Yeah, you were late to, yeah, and
I
she
was
was
late
like,
for
I'll
coffee.
pay for dinner.
I was late for lunch, and then it came to dinner. I was still late.
What the hell were you doing?
Yeah. So then she calls me. She's like, I'm late. I'm so sorry. He's like, I'll just pay for dinner. I was like, it's fine. I was like, if you don't come, I'll just have dinner by myself. Like, I'm cool.
And that actually, like, I was so impressed that he said that. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh wow, he doesn't care if I come or not.
It works. See, guys have been told this like since high school. It's like just tell them, maybe I'll see you later. Whatever. It's cool either way, right?
Yeah, he wasn't too eager. I was like, wait, wait a minute. But like, I'm coming. Like, just wait for it. So to answer your question, why I was late, I was actually hanging out with my best friend who just had a baby. So I was just like letting him know and keeping him posted what was happening. But I was like, hey, I live like 2 hours away from Santa Monica at this point. So I'm like gonna run late. And I was expecting him to say, oh, you know what, let's reschedule. Because that's what most people in LA do. You don't really lock in a time, especially when I was doing modeling and acting, right? Like you audition. So then I cancel plans last minute because there's like a casting call. So I was so used to that. And like to me to say, hey, let's reschedule, it was fine. But then he said, no, I'll be here. I'm gonna eat by myself no matter what. I was like, oh, interesting. I was like, okay.
Well played, sir.
I was practicing being alone because I hadn't been alone for so long. So I would go to movie theaters by myself. I go to a restaurant by myself. And I just learning to be comfortable being alone. So when she said that, I was like, great. I'm going to have a good meal. If we meet, we meet.
I did offer to pay though.
Did you, on the first date,
Yeah.
you offered to pay?
She was late, and I was like, it's fine.
I felt so bad. I was late.
I was like, it's fine.
Yeah, so that's the story. And then I saw him, and I was like, please
Oh,
tell
the
me.
most beautiful man in the world.
Yes, absolutely. No, I
I mean, was it a relief when he actually looked like the person on the Instagram photo? Like it wasn't some rando?
so Photoshop, at least it's not like
Yeah.
411.
Hey, short guys rule the world now. Come on. But it's funny, like, so my wife was also really, I'm glad we're talking about that. I never tell this. I never get to talk about this on the show. My wife was also like an hour late to our first date. And she like texted me and she's like, I'm so sorry. I'm running late. It'll be blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like jokingly, not even thinking about it, just like typed deal breaker and sent it to her. And she was like, oh, okay. I was like, no, I'm kidding. Like, it's cool. Take your time. And then, of course, obviously it worked out for us too. So maybe there's something to that, right? Yeah. And think back to it. Like most of our conversations actually like were through DMs on Twitter initially too. So maybe I don't know. There's some parallels here, guys. There's some parallels here. All right. Well, let's get down to the substance of it. That's enough of how to slide into the DMs. Let's talk about, when somebody is inspired to get healthy, which is, I mean, y'all's bread and butter with Fit Vegan Coaching. but maybe one partner is really gung-ho into eating a plant-based diet and cleaning up their health, but the other partner is kind of dragging their feet a little bit.
Yeah.
You guys, obviously both very fit individuals, but you were plant-based long before Ivy was. Is that correct, Maxim?
Yeah, I'm going on a decade this year, and she's just past a year almost.
Yeah, a year and a
just
half.
past a year.
Yeah. What was it like, were you nervous to go plant-based with Maxim? Were you dragging your feet?
No, actually, LA, of all places, a lot of my friends are vegan. So I would actually hang out with them and eat at vegan restaurants or whatnot. So I'm very exposed to, what veganism is and what that lifestyle's about. But also, and I say this a lot because coming from LA too, there's that sushi culture. And I was like friends with like Michelin star chefs that actually feeds me free sushi. So, how can you say no to those?
Yeah.
And I grew up in the Philippines. The culture is very like meat based and, pork and all that stuff. So when you don't have awareness of these, right? So I'm never really exposed to like now that I am like a lot aware of what's happening in the world and, that culture. You just don't see anything wrong with it, right? You grew
Right.
up
Right.
doing this. This is the norm. But I never liked meat. It was fish for me.
Gotcha.
So I was still having sushi when
Our first date, she
I
was
ordered
like,
salmon.
"Is it okay if I order salmon?" I was like, "Yeah, of course." I'm like, "I'm not gonna eat it, but you can
Like
do
I
whatever
didn't
you
want
want."
to offend them, right?
Right
But
on.
but I was like, well, this is me, and I was like, that independent.
Yeah.
You're not going to change me.
It's the first date. You can't. I mean, yeah.
You
It's,
know,
it's
you're
a process. It's a process.
And I genuinely didn't care. I was like, "I'm not gonna eat it, but you can do
Yeah.
it. You can eat a steak if you
Right,
want to.
right.
Like, it's you." But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So like the thing is, it wasn't hard for me. So that's what I'm trying to get to.
Gotcha.
Fish is like the last thing that I had to give up, and I transitioned. So seeing Maxim thriving, seeing him making impact, seeing him helping other people, and I'm seeing these changes as we were in a relationship, right? We have clients that's like changing their lives, being able to do push-up when they can't even like do any before, being able to just like do more movements with their body. And I was like, man, something's really in like just eating
There's something to
plant-based.
it.
Yeah, so I was like, and I'm the type that's like very ambitious, very like, I want to be on top of my game. I was always in martial arts. I never smoke, I never drank, for the reason being I want to be that top person. I don't want anything to even like, keep that excellence down. So anything I can do to improve myself, I'm always doing it.
Right.
So when I saw plant-based and what it was doing to Maxim, and he's like endless energy, right? And I was like, man, I want to be like you. And sometimes, when you're eating unhealthy food, I do want to be 6'4". I mean, someday maybe. But I was just like, I need to do something. I can try this and see what happens. And I love vegetables. It's nothing like really drastic as far
Right.
as transitioning, because I was already doing all those things. I just need to get rid of one thing.
Right.
Yeah, it
So-
was more like cultural.
Yeah.
Not say cultural to like the Philippines, but cultural to LA. It's like the whole food scene. I think that was like the biggest attachment you had to
man.
make.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
the biggest foodie. Like,
Yeah.
that was the only thing. Like,
And
I can't imagine.
Yeah, and we're gonna be together 3 years in October. So the first like year and a half or so, you were still kind of you were eating fish,
Yeah.
and so I was like, she had her own pan for the fish.
yeah. I was
The
cook-
fish pan.
Yeah, this fish pan. I was like, I don't want it in my vegetable pan.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can do whatever you want. And sometimes I like to leave the house because I can't like the smell of it.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand it. But
Yeah, I was surprised he even like stuck with me. I was like cooking fish. But you know what? I realized that people can't change unless they want to, right?
Absolutely.
So that's one thing. Like
Absolutely.
it clicked one day, and I was like, you know what? I'm seeing everything that's good about like being plant-based.
Yeah.
I saw it so clearly that I worked with PETA at one point, and I'm also a World Wildlife Fund ambassador now, fighting for
Yeah.
the environment and all that good stuff. So yeah.
All right. So you just had fish to take off the table. That stinky fish that permeated, came out the whole house. I mean, it must have been love if you're willing to tolerate that.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so I just leave the house or go in another room basically.
Yeah, I did say that. He said, I wouldn't do this if I didn't love you.
For sure. And just to open the freezer and to see it, I was like, oh.
I know. I mean, I kind of feel like the same way, because it's my wife's father lives with us now, and the house is not as clean food wise as it once was, and it's that ugh feeling, but it's that love. Obviously, a different kind of love with my father-in-law. I love the guy. I want him to be okay. I want him to be happy, going through a lot, but still seeing those foods, it's not like a positive feeling for me. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that's okay. And that kind of brings us to what it is I wanted to talk to you guys about today, was like, a lot of us have those people in our life, whether romantic or they're friends or, roommates or just whatever, but you care for this person deeply, but, you want to make these changes. You want people to change with you. You guys work with so many people with vegan coaching, and I'm sure that a lot of your clients, Maxim, come to you and they're like, I really want to do this, but my partner, my friend, my whomever is really not on board with this. How do you help them out? What is something that you might tell them?
Yeah, so two things. One of them is kind of my own strategy that I've used for a long time, and that's kind of, I think, how she became vegan with me. It was just leading by example. That was the best one. I was like, if you have a ton of energy and you feel good and you become the best version of yourself, everyone around you is going to ask you a question. Everyone's going to be attracted to that to a certain extent. So that would be the one thing is, ultimately, when you become vegan, whether you want to or not, you become a walking billboard for the movement in your community or in your group. So that'd be the first one. The second is when we tell them to make our recipes, or like make our recipes as the base and then let them add whatever they want on top of it. Because a lot of time, if it's their partner or their kids, like, I don't want to cook 2-3 dinners or 2-3 lunches for everyone. So just cook a whole food plant-based meals. And then if they want to add, chicken or fish on top of them, let them add that to it. That way, at least they have a solid foundation of eating whole foods, and then they can add the thing they want on top of it. Because at the end of the day, it's not that the whole food meal is not good. It's just they think that they need chicken. They think that they need fish. So if you add a bit of it, eventually they kind of realize, like, this is good on its own. I don't really need to add this. This leaves me feeling full. And then people start to like slowly transition away. But it's a patience game if you're leading by example, because again, a year and a half for her to kind of get there. My mom, she's been vegan for 4 years now. So I was vegan for 6 before she transitioned. My dad, working on him, right? Yeah, I'm 10 years vegan. We've transformed almost 800 people. Still doesn't believe me. So yeah, he's maybe like 80% plant-based. So I think it's just, a matter of patience and just kind of, showing how good the food can taste. Right. Which I tried that with her, but I'm not the best chef. So.
Yeah, it didn't
I was
work.
like, air fried tofu and some sweet potatoes and some Brussels sprouts. That's what we
I got you. And it takes a real man to admit their shortcomings too.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. So here's another interesting point that I love to raise. If Maxim would have come to you, even say on that first date, and he just said, I don't care what you eat, do whatever. But if he would have had that ultimatum, it's like, no, you keep it plant-based or else. Do you think the two of you would be here today?
Probably not.
No, she's too strong-minded. She would have been like, you're challenging me on day one? Like, nah, this is not going to work.
I was just looking for things to go wrong at day one. I was like, so I'm out of there.
Right on.
Because at that point, I had everything going as far as career. Like, I was like, remember I mentioned, that's the time I made up my mind, like, I don't need anything.
Yeah.
So if he would have said something like that in the beginning, I would have been, see ya. Yeah. Right? Like, because I have no awareness. Like, to me, it's my identity. I don't know enough to even go fully vegan at that point. I have friends, but it's not like we talk about it, right? Like, I do what they do just because out of respect. But the lifestyle is nothing like I really know about. My family's definitely not vegan. I might be the first one, actually. Yeah. So, but he was very patient. Like, I think that's what's needed. Like, lead by example. I see what good it's doing to him, to his body, his mind, and also the 750 plus people that we
so that's the secret. Start a company and transform 800 people, then your partner will be convinced.
Right. Then you lead by example and then do it 100 more times.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you know what? I think my wife would have been kind of the same way. You know, it's like I was very strong-willed myself. Like, I'm doing this. I would love for you to do it with me, but it's cool, right? And so even if she does have this slip up occasionally, with her dad being in the house, cool. You know, like I'm not holding it against her to this day, right? I've made up my mind. I'm not going to do it. But I don't think it can be like this do or die ultimatum. Otherwise, I think that's the doom of a relationship. And I honestly think like it's going to sour somebody to the idea of eating that way or transitioning over to being plant-based, because like why would you want to be associated with a movement then that can be perceived as, well, these guys are nothing but a bunch of militant type of jerks,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I think no one's really receptive, right? If I would have came to her and I was like, I don't want you to eat fish around me, then I would kind of like created that distance, and she wouldn't have been open to any idea about eating plant-based. She would have been closed off to it. She would have just gotten the stereotype confirmed, basically.
Yeah.
Of like vegans will push it down your throat, they'll be a dick about it. So yeah, I've never been receptive to those type of comments. I know she wouldn't either. And so yeah, just that patience, that space, and continuing to cook delicious air fried tofu eventually got to her, you know?
And look, man, whether it's, you know, food or anything else, when you come and you're just so combative about an idea, people just shut down. It's what we do. It's human nature. So we've got lead by example. What's another route that you might take to try to nudge somebody in a healthier direction?
So to me personally, that's just what it was. I'm gonna lead by example. I'm gonna be patient with it, and then I'm gonna try to cook some food for her, so that she can see that if she can do a few days with, you know, some tofu, some tempeh, some beans, some lentils, and all those things, and she doesn't die at the end of those 3 days, maybe it'll click in her head of like, oh, maybe I don't need to eat fish every single day.
No, actually, we have to add, like, you started making me watch documentaries, you know?
Making, or did he suggest, hey?
No, he's like, have you seen this?
I was
Okay,
like,
there it
on
is.
Netflix.
There it
sit
is.
down right here.
It's like the little bit that I know about her, it's like you probably can't make her do anything, man.
He tricks me.
Yeah.
Yes. We have movie nights, and then he started making me watch, like, you know, all the great documentaries.
You watch Game Changers, yeah.
Game Changers one. And he brings awareness, just like, you know, that to me, that's important because I want to know. I want to learn. Learning is like, I thrive in learning. I love new things. So, you know, it opened my eyes and more awareness. Now I feel even worse eating my fish because of what it's doing, right? So, yeah, with just awareness and lead by example and just like is patient with me the whole time. It's like, yep, that's my man.
Well played, sir. Oh,
Patience.
well played.
A lot of it.
I think, I mean, that's the secret sauce to any long-term relationship, man. You have to have patience. You just have to, right? But you're only going to have patience for people that you care about anyway. So it all kind of works out, doesn't it? And it's funny you talk about like the documentaries again, parallels. It was the same thing with Jules. For us, it was What the Health, not the Game Changers. But I watched it. I was like, holy, bleep. And then I was like, hey, what do you think about watching this? You know, and I told her like I think I'm gonna go vegan, and like she just like chewed me up one side and down the other. You already eat the healthiest bleepity bleep diet of anybody that I know. Now you want to do this and that? What the bleep is wrong with you? You're bleeping insane. And then I'm like, it's cool. You want to watch a movie? Yeah. What do you want to watch? Let's watch What's Our Health. Okay. After the credits start rolling. Hey baby, let's go vegan. Like it's her idea at that point. I was like,
Awesome.
let's do it. Yeah.
It
And then
works.
we were off to the races.
Got it. Right.
I think the consistency of asking too, because sometimes you point out documentaries and like, oh, not tonight. I want something like, action or comedy or whatever. And then 3 days after, you're like, what about this thing again?
Yeah.
And eventually she'll be in the mood for it. And then you watch the documentary.
I love documentaries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, Netflix does a bang up job. I mean,
Yeah.
off topic, I love their crime documentaries, man.
Me
Like,
too.
they're so good.
He hates
They're
them.
so, you don't like, oh man,
I
they're
only
so
like
good.
watching comedy. That's the only thing I watch. I don't
Okay.
like maybe a little bit of action movie, but I don't watch anything scary.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's scary too. That's
Yeah, I was just
horror
like,
film.
life is scary enough. All the things I take on so many risks in my life to have the impact I want to have. I'm like, this is stressful enough. I don't need to add it through the form of a movie. So
Right
I
on.
just watch comedy stuff to kind of lighten up.
I don't know. In another life, though, like I love the crime stuff. Like I could have been very happy as a cop. I think growing up, had I not been struggling with my weight, I would have seriously considered becoming a cop.
Yeah. It's fun. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets like, it's like, why do you want to know like how to kill or like how to get away like from killing people? It's like, I didn't know, it's interesting.
It's just a whodunit. Nobody's trying to learn how to actually do it. Like,
Pulls out her notepad.
now that's a red flag in a relationship.
Exactly.
That's a red flag. All right, let's wrap this up. I mean, I can't imagine that you have any shortage of people who work with you at Fit Vegan Coaching who, they're searching for the answers, like getting their partner, their spouse, whomever, to get on board with this. Do you think that if somebody is a sedentary couch potato, has no interest in changing, but your client who's really working so hard to improve their health, is that like so detrimental to their overall long-term ability to achieve their goals, to be living in a house with somebody who's just not on board?
It definitely makes it harder. You
Yeah.
definitely have to have like more willpower and more discipline. But I think the main part is if you're someone that's tried to lose weight before and you come to your partner and you've been with your partner for several years where they've seen you try different things, they don't see it as like, oh, this is the thing that's going to change my partner. They see it as like, oh, here's another thing that they're trying to do. They fail at all the other ones. So either I'll leave a comment and say like not to be as supportive, or they'll just be like, hey, this is just another thing that you're trying. Basically, you'll get over that kick and then you'll just go back to what it was before. And so it does make it harder to not have a partner that will support you. But I think people would just say it as like, I'm gonna go vegan because I want to lose weight, and they're super excited. They don't take the time to have an in-depth conversation with the partner of like, hey, I'm suffering, I'm in pain, I don't like how I'm feeling, and I really want to try this, and it would mean the world to me if you actually supported me through this. Every time I've spoken with my clients, they're like, oh, I just told my husband I'm going vegan, now I'm gonna do this. I was like, it's a bit like you're jumping the gun. You didn't tell him why it's important to you. Like, he doesn't really understand. So taking the time to have that in-depth conversation to be like, this means the world to me, and I think this might be the way for me to improve the quality of my health, improve the quality of my life, improve my fitness. And a lot of the times the partner is a lot more understanding because they understand the deep why behind. Because if they're your partner, probably love you. And if you tell them you're suffering, you're uncomfortable and all these things, well, they want you to feel better. And so if you think that that's the thing that's going to make you feel better, then they're a lot more likely to support you in that because it's coming from a place of love. I want you to feel good versus, oh, here's just another fad thing that they're doing to lose the weight.
Yeah. Is he, was the why behind it important as he's leading by example?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I work with Maxime now with the Fit Vegan Coaching. I see the behind the scene. I speak to people. I'm the first person that they actually meet in contact. And it's a lot of, oh, I don't know if my husband, would let me speak to him. And it's like speaking to your husband for something that you need to do for yourself, right? I mean, I respect that. We respect that you need your spouse to agree. It's a monetary financial decision. And it's not cheap.
It's a lifestyle that's changed too for the household too, as well. Yeah.
So what I found out, if I involve them sometimes, and a lot of times they end up joining because I get them on a call together and I explain the process. And we teach that this is a lifestyle. It's not a trendy thing that you can try for like a couple months and then go off.
Yeah.
Like we're teaching you knowledge, how to carry this on for the rest of your life. It's an impact for both and for the rest of your family that you can teach and friends, right? So once they understand the mechanics of what this is, and we're not, like we've done this over 750 plus successful transformations, they're like, oh, okay, it clicks. Like we can do this together. Now it's gonna be fun. We're gonna work out together, we're gonna cook meals together, and a few of those couples have jumped in the program, and he was surprised.
We have an average. If a partner is in the program, I'm not trying to make this a plug for the program, but that's kind of where my stories come from. The husband or the partner ends up losing on average like 10 pounds just by indirectly being around different types of food, right? And so and just with their partner doing more steps, they're going out for walks with them. So indirectly, there's an impact. And that's why I love working primarily with women as well. and not to be stereotypical, but usually they're the ones that are preparing the food for the family. And what ends up happening is the husband's too lazy to cook for the most time. So they're just going to eat whatever, the wife is preparing, and then same for the kids, right? So it ends up having that greater impact amongst their household, but then in the community as well, because then everyone sees the main person that's transforming in the family, like, you guys look great, right? Your skin looks great, you have more energy, like, what are you doing? Like, that's your opportunity to be like, hey, I'm eating whole food, plant-based, versus kind of going to everyone as like, you should eat whole food, plant-based, you're a murderer for that, yeah. So
The picture that you just painted, it's an opportunity for the couples to come together. It's a thing to do together, right? You change together. Relationships have to evolve. It's like a snake sheds its skin, right? You get new skin. You're always changing. And I think that's a beautiful way that you just painted that. I haven't even thought about it like that. That is well done. That is well done. You've been on a lot of phone calls with these couples, haven't you? Uh-huh.
Hundreds and hundreds of them. But and then doing that together and working out together like brings a couple closer as well.
I mean, it brings us together, right? So I want to share that this is genuine. This is not just social media. We don't do those things just because we're filming. We do a lot more things behind the scenes. We actually enjoy each other. We cook for each other. We train together. We have goals, like we did a Spartan race. And I never thought I would be able to carry sandbags of 45 pounds running uphill. I mean, I've never done anything like that. And to have a goal and do it together, and he was helping me the whole time. It was such a moment of man, I accomplished something so big for me, and he was there by my side. So that was a special moment.
I love that. And I'm excited. We can kind of let the cat out of the bag here that you're going to be kind of coming on board a little bit with the exam room, doing the Fit Over 40 series, and just really kind of baby stepping people up into movement. We get so much feedback, Maxim and Ivy, from people who have been sedentary for so long. It's not just the food that they eat, it's the fact that we just don't move. And I love the fact that with the Fit Over 40 series, you're really going to be giving people in bite-sized tips, just simple exercises that they can do at home to get going on the journey. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, they can do it while they listen to the show.
I prefer that they kind of watch you do the exercises and so they can see what to do. But yeah, man, I'm pumped about that,
I'm excited too.
I'm really, really excited. And I know that the last time you were on the show, there was such great feedback, just from your story, and everybody was really anxious to work with the two of you. And so now we got the chance the opportunity to introduce people to the whole team at Fit Vegan Coaching. So I'm really excited. And of course, people want to work with you, they can hop on the website. There's a link below. The website is
fitvegancoaching.com.
There it is. So you can click that link down below. It's in the show description. It is in the episode notes. Ivy, Maxim, thank you guys so much. Looking forward to working with you more in the future.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us.